Okay, then now it will be the biodiversity part 3, and this time we will talk more about the species. As you may always ask these questions, that is about the horse, donkey, and the mule. Okay, so that is what you are thinking about. Why a horse is a species, a donkey is a species, but a mule is not a species. A mule, we only classify it as an organism, but we don't give it a species because it cannot reproduce to give a fertile offspring. The answer is from here. Okay. So first of all, normally, I can give you some time to read it first. Here. Okay then. Okay. Come right here. So first of all, in fact, for the horse, normally in the originally diploid cell, it will have 64 chromosomes. In the donkey, again in the diploid cell, it will have 62 chromosomes. After meiosis, in the sperm or egg, this becomes 32. So after meiosis, the haploid cell, 31. Accidentally, for the horse and donkey, most of the time the horse will be the male and donkey the female, due to the larger size of the horse and smaller body size of the donkey. And then after fertilization, it's still no problem. After fertilization, the male, which they cross, will have in total 63 chromosomes. And then the problem comes here. With 63 chromosomes, the last chromosome, that means the last one, 62 plus 1, there will be no homologous chromosome. And then if you think about how can this 63 continue to do meiosis, that's the problem. So that's why the male is infertile, because it will not be able to give normal sperm or egg due to the odd number chromosome that it has. So remember, for the species definition, it means that it will be able to reproduce, interbreed, we use this word, interbreed, and give fertile offspring. That it is a kind of species. Otherwise, it's just a living thing, it's just an organism. We don't give a specific scientific name to it, because the male only appear accidentally. It will not be successful every time that the horse cross with donkey and then it may produce a male. It depends. It's by chance. Right? I'll continue. For again, come back to animal classification. In fact, for animal classification, you learn it in Form 1. So that's why I will not spend a lot of time on this part. But remember, one thing is that for animal classification, what you're looking for is the external features and their structure. Don't look at their behavior. So first of all, for fish, what is important is the terms that you need to know. So some features fish will have will be the fins. That means this. Fins. This is also fins. Alright, and then other one will be observable. It will have some scales, and those scales we call it slimy scales. These are scales. And then for an internal structure, not external one, where if there will be gills here. In fact, for all marine organisms, most of them, if it is in large size, they use gills for breathing. Underwater, then gills. If it is living on land, most of the time they breathe with lungs. And then another feature is that they will have streamlined body. The streamlined body is used to reduce water resistance so that they can swim faster. Okay. And in fact, for fish, I would say we have two types of fish. And fish, they can do internal fertilization, just like human. Okay, just like human. So, if it is internal fertilization, the fish, they will carry the smaller fish inside, and then when during laboring, they will release the small fish. So those are by internal fertilization. Some example will be called those 孔雀魚啊、米奇啊。Those are born by internal fertilization. And same even for shark, also internal fertilization. But a lot of them, they are doing external fertilization. Does that mean the fish release the egg, and then another fish release the sperm, and then so later on the fertilized egg may hide somewhere in rocks or seaweeds or some sea animals, and then they later on become a fish there. So outside the body, then external fertilization. So that's for fish. One example for fish that you need to know is seahorse is a fish. Remember, seahorse is a fish. 鮬鳗魚 is a fish. Continue. So if you read the books, you have some example. Okay. So remember, when you look at the diagram, you need to identify it is a fish based on the observable features. So these are the fins. Fins, scales. So streamlined body, so it is a fish. And then if for the seahorse, you need to identify the fins. In fact, the fins are here. They're here. So with the fins, so that's why it is a fish. Continue the next one. Amphibian. For amphibian, what you need to remember will be, for amphibian, remember, you don't need to remember the Chinese name 兩棲類. Just remember amphibian, because we don't look at their behavior. For amphibian, they only have one feature that you need to remember, is that they have moist skin. Or sometimes from the certificate level past paper, you will see this word, naked skin. So this is the only features. So if they have these features, it must be amphibian. And you need to know some name. For amphibian, if they are on the land, they use lung for breathing. And one thing very special for frog here, when they are at the beginning, they are tadpole for adult, and they're living in water, so that at that period of time they use gills for breathing. Later on, the structural change when it is an adult frog. Then on land it will breathe with lungs, but then in water it can use the skin for breathing through gases exchange, diffusion directly. So in fact, when it is an adult, it uses lungs and moist skin for breathing. So if you cover their skin, they die. Salamander. So this is toad, will be also some kinds of like frog. And one more word that you need to know, we call it newt. Hong Kong newt. That I just showed you in last video. So Hong Kong newt is a kind of amphibian. Oh, let's see whether I still got the photo. This one. Hong Kong newt. So if you can see the moist skin like this, then it will be an amphibian. But remember, all these, they have vertebrates. They are vertebrates. And then the next one will be reptile. For reptile, they will lay for the external features. For external features, again, you only need to remember one thing. They have dry and hard scales. And for reproduction, they will lay eggs with shell. And don't just write down eggs, because in Chinese, eggs is 蛋, but in fact it can also mean 卵. So if it is for the fish also lay eggs but without shell. But for reptiles, those eggs will with shell. Reptiles, so everything with dry and hard scale, then it'll be reptiles. And remember, they do internal fertilization. So that means one thing, for the male, they have the penis. So we have example like lizard, those scale here, colorful scale. And then another one, snake. Turtle. Tortoise. And these are some examples. One thing that you need to know, I want you to write down this word. Hibernate. Hibernate in Chinese is 冬眠. For amphibian, because they are poikiloforms, they are cold-blooded. And when it is very cold, they will move to environments that will be warmer. And then for reptile, in winter, they will hibernate, that they don't move. And for fish, fish is also cold-blooded, poikiloforms. But for fish, they can swim again. They will swim to water which is a little bit warmer. So for this part, I want you to look at this word here. Right. So poikiloform means cold-blooded. And then the opposite is homeoforms. When we talk about mammal, you will look about it. One more thing, lateral line here. Lateral line, you may not find in all fish, but lateral line, in fact, we are talking about some fish. You can see a line here. Here. Then this is called lateral line, but not all the fish you can see it. So this is only a features. But again, in public exam, most of the time you don't need to write this word. And then for birds, again, some features that you need to remember will be the mouth part. We call it the beak, the mouth part. And then feathers, 羽毛, wings. And in fact, I will tell you that for birds, their legs also contain some scales, but this is not the main focus. Most of the time when we identify whether it is a bird, in the photo, we can identify this too. And wings sometimes may not be birds because something containing wings like insect, they don't have the vertebral column. Or one example is with bats. The bats also with wings, but the wings is covered by hair but not feathers. Then there's another problem. So this is pigeon. In fact, this kind of bird you can always find in Hong Kong. In Chinese, this is called 豬頸斑鳩. Since at the neck here, 好似好多粒豬仔咁，就叫豬頸，咁咪叫斑鳩。And then sparrow. I make sure you know the English name of those living things. Penguin. And for all these birds, they will lay eggs with shell. And for birds, they're homeotherms, warm-blooded animals. So you need to know this word, homeotherms. Try your best to spell it. Most of the time, I just pronounce it as homoeotherms or homoiotherm. Then, as far as you can spell it, it's okay. Then the last one, mammal. For mammals, the features that you need to remember is that they have hairs or fur. Fur means a thick layer of hairs. That means a lot of hairs, dense layer. So for human, what we have is hairs, not fur. And another one will be mammary gland. And remember, for mammary glands, no matter it is male or female, both male and female have mammary glands. But whether it is developed or not, then it depends on the gender. Okay. So remember, even men will have it, male will have it. So this is the... And then for mammal, it will have internal fertilization. So again, it will be a homeotherms. So these are some examples. But I will tell you that the most difficult part, again, you can refer to your notes for some table like this. Okay. So you can just refer to the notes. The most difficult part of animal classification will be a problem that you have no common sense. Let's talk about some example. For this chapter, there's two problems. One problem is about your English, the vocabulary that you know. Another problem is that about your exposure. First of all, let's talk about this one. 白蟻啊！我俾10秒你諗下，白蟻嘅英文係點串嘅咧？嗱，你肯定會咁樣答我嘅，咁我肯定錯啦。有冇人識咧？ Termite. So the first thing about this chapter is about your English problem. Continue. For termite, do they have eyes? 究竟有冇眼嘅呢？白蟻。For this one, I don't tell you the answer. I want you to search it by yourself. The last question again, I don't tell you the answer, and then you tell me online. What is the relationship between this one and this one? I don't tell you the answer until next week or very later on. Try to answer it online. Okay. So what are their relationship and whether do they have eyes? Okay. And then for next video we talk about we will talk about how to draw keys.